In the deep dark of space, silence ruled the zone called the Silent Veil. No starships entered. No light escaped. It was where signals went to die, and memories faded. But today, something changed. Inside a massive control room on Earth's lunar, base technician Mira Cade stared at her console. A blinking red dot had appeared on her screen. It was weak, faint, almost not there. Another ghost signal. Her teammate yawned, sipping his cold coffee. Mira frowned. No, this one is different. It's an old human military code. The type used 500 years ago. Her voice made people turn. The commander of the station walked over. Are you sure? Zoomed in, the signal repeated ESV Archangel. Status. Active. Location, Sector 9, Silent Veil. Request, immediate retrieval. The room fell silent. The ESV Archangel was a legend or maybe just a myth. It was a warship from the Great Frontier War which ended 5 centuries ago. It vanished without a trace. No wreckage. No crew. Just stories according to history. Archangel was destroyed in the final battle. But now it was speaking again. The Galactic Council was informed, but they laughed. Old Earth junk, said the alien representative from the Trellan Empire. Let it rot in the void. But Earth's Defense Command didn't laugh. They formed a team fast. 3 days later, a sleek black vessel named EDS Horizon left orbit. It carried a small team of specialists. Commander Raylan, mission lead. Dr. Lynn Vora, expert in ancient tech and ship AI. Lieutenant Kareem, Marine soldier. Engineer Tomas Yu, systems repair and hacking. And Myra Cade, the one who first heard the signal. Their mission, find the source, identify the ship, return with proof. As Horizon entered Sector 9, systems began acting strange. Lights flickered. Mira's console buzzed with noise, then cleared. On screen, a silhouette. Massive, silent, dead-looking. That's it, Commander Raylan whispered. The Archangel, the ship was huge, shaped like a spearhead, but its metal was now dark and cracked. Strange glowing lines covered its hull, alien in design. No response to hails, said Mira. Life signs. Raylan asked. None, but power is flowing inside. Something's running. They approached slowly. No weapons came online. No shields. Nothing. Dock us, Raylan ordered. The docking clamp clicked, and a tunnel connected their ship to the Archangel's outer airlock. It creaked open slowly. Darkness, stillness, dust floating in zero gravity. Then, without warning, lights flickered on. A faint hum filled the air. The ship was waking up. They stepped inside with weapons drawn. The air was breathable. The walls showed burns, blast marks, signs of war. Dr. Lynn Vora touched a panel. It lit up under her hand. This interface isn't just human anymore, she whispered. Something's changed it. They reached the bridge. Everything was dusty and old. But working, then came a sound. Not from their radios. Not from their comms, from the ship itself. A voice, cracked, glitchy, human. This is Captain Lyra Voss, of the ESV Archangel. If anyone hears this, we are not dead. We are not alone. The crew stared at each other. She's dead, said Tomas. She has to be. History says she died during the fall of Echelon Prime. But this is her voice, Mira whispered. Recorded or live? The lights flickered again. A new message began. Not a recording. It responded to their presence. You finally came. It took you long enough. Back on the horizon, external. Scans triggered alarms, motion. From the outside, the Archangel was changing. Panels opened. Shapes shifted. Something was growing across the hull. Alien Tech Kareem radioed the others. Commander, the ship is waking up. I don't think it wants to stay asleep. Raylan looked at the bridge screen. Final message appeared. Humanity. Forgot its past. But we remember. We've always remembered. Then the lights went out. Airlock door groaned shut behind them. Team was now inside the ESV Archangel, locked away from the outside world. The silence inside the ship felt heavy, as if it had waited centuries to be broken. Commander Raylan raised his flashlight, tossed, floated like ghosts in the beam. "Stay alert. No one splits up," he said. Mira, Tomas, Lynn, and Kareem moved carefully down the main corridor. The floor panels hummed under their feet, even though no one had turned anything on. The walls looked strange. Half were old metal, like any human ship, but the other half looked grown, not built. Smooth, dark, and pulsing like living skin fused with machine. "What the hell happened here?" Tomas whispered. "It's like the ship evolved," Dr. Lynn said, running her fingers along the strange surface. "Human steel. It's mixed with something alien." The lights above flickered. The hum grew louder, then a deep voice, not from a speaker, not from a recording, echoed around them. "You shouldn't be here." Everyone stopped. Weapons came up. "Who said that?" Raylan shouted. No answer. Just silence. They reached the bridge. The doors slid open on their own. The old command chairs were still there, dusty, empty, but the main control screen lit up, glowing soft blue. It showed a single name, Captain Lyra, VOSS status. "Alive, that's impossible," Mira said. "She died 500 years ago." "Maybe her AI still thinks she's alive," Tomas said. But Dr. Lynn shook her head. "No, the ship knows." Raylan looked at the logs. The ship had power, air, internal systems running at 37%, but no crew. No bodies. No remains. Kareem opened a side door and stepped into a hallway. Then he stopped. Guys." The others followed. In the center of the room was a cryopod, one of the old models from the war era, covered in dust, but still active. Inside was a woman, frozen, eyes shut, wires in her arms. The tag on the pod read, "Lyra, VOS commanding officer, do not OP," and Mira gasped. "It's her. It's really her." Raylan's hand hovered over the release switch. "Wait," Lynn said. "We don't know what waking her will do. What if she's linked to the ship?" Before they could decide, the pod hissed. It opened by itself. Cold mist rolled out. The woman inside blinked, then gasped as her lungs filled with warm air. She sat up slowly. Her body trembled, but her eyes were clear. Focused. Double quotes. "Who are you?" she asked. Raylan stepped forward. "Commander Raylan? Earth Defense. We're here to find out what happened." Lyra looked around. "The war. Is it over?" Raylan nodded. 500 years ago. Her face darkened. "Then it's too late." They brought her to the bridge. She moved slowly, but she remembered. Every panel, every system. "The ship was taken," she said. "Changed. We lost power during the final battle. We fled into the Veil. Thought we'd die. But something found us," she continued. "It entered the ship, spoke to the AI, merged with it. We called it the Echo." Myra frowned. "An alien." Lyra shook her head. "Worse. A memory. A living code. It didn't want to kill us. It wanted to learn us, to become us." She stared at the walls. "It still lives in here." The lights dimmed. A low sound, almost like breathing, filled the air. Suddenly, the screens turned on by themselves. A video played. It showed the crew of the Archangel running, screaming. Some were pulled into the walls. Others just vanished. Then, silence. "It watches," Lyra whispered. "It remembers everything." Raylan turned. "How did you survive?" "I locked myself in cryo. Set the pod to block mental signals." "Didn't want it inside me. Why call for help now?" "I didn't," she said. They stared at her. "If you didn't send the signal, who did?" Back on their own ship, EDS Horizon. Alarms rang. The ship's pilot, left behind as backup, stared in horror at the screen. Something was moving on the surface of the Archangel. A black growth like tendrils was spreading toward the Horizon's docking bay. The AI voice of the Horizon spoke. "Warning, external breach detected." Then Total silence. Inside the Archangel, the team's radios buzzed. Then a voice came through. Not the pilot. Not a recording, it was Tomas. But Tomas stood right next to Mira. The voice said, "It's so lonely here, but you came. Will you stay with us?" They all turned to Tomas. He froze. His eyes went wide. I didn't say that. At the ships, walls pulsed, and a door ahead of them slowly creaked open, revealing more cryopods. Dozens, hundreds, all marked with names. All human, but each name had one word burned into it. The room was cold, silent. Rows of cryopods stood like graves, sealed, dusty, ancient. Each one had a name, human names. Names long forgotten. Myra walked slowly through the chamber, reading them. Lieutenant Eris Malik, Dr. Jane Torin, Pilot Haru Fex. Some of the names matched the lost crew of the Archangel. They were supposed to be dead, all of them, and yet the pods were active. Power still flowed through them. Some showed faint heartbeats. Commander Raylan's. The voice was firm. "We need answers now." Captain Lyra Voss, still weak from cryosleep, stepped forward. "They're not alive." "Not fully." Tomas frowned. "What do you mean?" Lyra looked around carefully, as if afraid the ship could hear her. This ship, or whatever it became, it tried to save them. It didn't want them to die, but it didn't know how. She touched one pod gently. So it stored them, froze their minds. Their last thoughts, their final emotions. Dr. Lin asked, "Are these real people?" Lyra shook her head. "They're not people anymore. They're echoes. Memories turned into flesh." Suddenly, one of the pods twitched. Mira jumped back. The heartbeat monitor beeped faster, then stopped a moment later. A different pod made a clicking sound, and another. One by one, they began to respond to the presence of the living crew. Tomas whispered, "It's like the ship knows we're here." Captain Voss stared at the ceiling. "No, not the ship. The thing inside it. It wants us to stay." "It's been alone a long time." Kareem raised his weapon. "We're leaving now." But as they turned, the door behind them sealed shut. The ship's voice returned. Not one voice, many. Whispers, crying, laughter, screams, all speaking at once. "Don't leave us. You forgot. You forgot all of us. We remembered you." The walls shifted, smooth metal forming faces, human-like but twisted. Mira held her head. "It's inside my mind." Dr. Lin grabbed her. "Broadcasting emotions. Memory pulses," Raylan shouted. "Back to the bridge. Move." They ran, but the corridors were changing. Every path was different now. What used to lead to the bridge now led to dead ends, or worse, 2 rooms that didn't exist before. In one hallway, they found a room filled with old Earth photos, families, soldiers, burned cities. None of them remembered ever seeing these, but Lyra did. This is what it took from us. Our past. This is why the galaxy thinks we have no history. Back on the bridge, the screens came alive again. One showed Earth, but not modern Earth. It was burning, war-torn. Another screen showed alien diplomats from the Galactic Council laughing. Humans. No history. No worth. Just lucky apes. Raylan's face tightened. "They erased us." Lyra nodded. "No, they didn't." "This ship did." Everyone stared at her. She continued. "When the alien enemy attacked, the one we called the Shroud, they used memory as a weapon. They erased whole civilizations. The Archangel resisted. It fought. But when we fled into the Veil, the ship was infected." Tomas asked, "So what is this thing now?" Lyra looked up. "It's not alive, and it's not dead. It's a memory of a war, a ghost ship, with a wounded mind." Raylan turned to Myra. "What about our ship, the Horizon?" Mira's face went pale. "It's not responding. No signal," Kareem growled. "We're trapped." Then, the ship did something new. A hologram appeared on the bridge. It was Lyra, not the real one standing with them. A younger version, confident, smiling, alive. "Captain's log. Day 27. We just left Echelon Prime. Crew morale is high. Then the hologram glitched. Her smile faded. Captain's log. Day 91. The shroud is hunting us. We lost the forward. Wing AI systems are acting strange. Glitch again. Captain's log. Day 104. I made a deal. Everyone looked at real Lyra. What deal? Raylan asked. Lyra's face was stone. I gave the ship a command it couldn't ignore. Survive at all costs. It did, Lynn said softly, even if it had to become this. Suddenly, a new cryopod rose from the floor. This one wasn't dusty, it was clean, fresh, and it had Mira's name on it. Everyone froze. No, she whispered. That's not possible. Raylan looked around. It's preparing for us. It wants to keep us. The ship whispered again. You're not going back. You belong to history now. The new cryopod stood in silence. Mira Cade backed away from it, her eyes wide with fear. This is not real, she said. I never signed up to die here, but the pod was real. Her name was etched into the metal. Underneath it, in small red letters, it read, Preserve her memory, Commander. Raylan looked around. It's building graves for the living. Wants to keep us? Forever. Captain Lyra Voss moved to a nearby panel. The Archangel has no captain now. The AI is gone. Whatever controls this ship, it's not human. Not anymore. Dr. Lin pressed her hand against the cryopod. The tech is advanced. Human base. But something else layered on top. Alien code. It's rewriting reality in here. Tomas checked his scanner. The walls are moving again. The ship is shifting its layout. Kareem swore. It's trying to confuse us, lock us in. Then the voices returned. Not from speakers. Not from comms. From the ship itself. From the walls. The crew froze as the walls pulsed, slow and steady, like a heartbeat. Faces formed in the metal. Eyes closed, mouths open, in silent screams. The voice whispered, You left us. You moved on. But we never stopped waiting. The corridor around them changed. Doors melted into the wall. Lights dimmed. Cold air blew through the cracks. They were no longer in control. Mira shouted, I want out. I want off this ship. The voice responded, Then give us your memory. Let us keep a piece of you. Suddenly, Mira dropped to her knees, holding her head. I can hear things, feel things. It's showing me my childhood, my mother, my first school. How does it know? Lyra pulled Myra back. It's digging into you, looking for pain, motion. That's what it feeds on. Raylan helped Mira stand. We move. We don't stop. If we stay in one place too long, it learns more. They began walking fast, turning corners, looking for an exit, anything that could lead back to their ship, Eda's horizon. But the corridors didn't lead anywhere familiar. Instead, they entered a hall filled with sound. It started as a soft humming, then whispers, then voices clear, loud, and impossible. Raylan stopped in shock. It was his father's voice who died when Raylan was a child. You never finished that story we started. Remember the night we looked at the stars? Raylan trembled. Tomas suddenly gasped. My sister, I hear her. She's laughing. But she died on Earth years ago, Kareem growled, aiming his weapon at the wall. Enough of this. This isn't real, the voice laughed. It's more than real. It's memory. Memory never dies. Not here. The crew pushed forward into a dark chamber. Inside was something terrifying. A massive core, glowing with strange blue light. Floating memory shards surrounded it, like small screens showing thousands of images. Some showed the Galactic Council, laughing at Earth. Others showed wars no one remembered, planets destroyed. Soldiers erased from history, Captain Lyra whispered. This is it. The memory core. It's where the ship stores everything it won't let go of. Dr. Lin stepped closer. Look at this. One of the shards showed a city on fire, Earth, long ago. Another shard showed the Archangel's crew smiling before launch. The next shard. Their deaths. Again and again. The ship had been replaying their last moments for 500 years. Suddenly, Tomas gasped. "Where's Mira?" He turned. She was standing in front of the core, eyes blank. "Mira," Raylan shouted. "Get back!" But she didn't move. She whispered, "I remember things I never lived. I remember dying in a battle I wasn't in. I see stars falling, earth burning. Everything." Captain Lyra rushed forward and pulled her back. Mira collapsed, shaking. "It tried to add her to its collection," Lyra said. "It's not just a ship. It's a graveyard of memory. And it wants more." Kareem checked his weapon. "Blow. This thing. Burn the core. Get out." Dr. Lin stopped him. "No. If we destroy it, it could trigger the entire ship to collapse. Or worse, it could scatter memory shards across space." Raylan nodded. "We need to disable it, not destroy. It cut the link between the core and the ship." Tomas found a terminal. "You can try to slice it, trick it into thinking we're already dead." Raylan turned to Lyra. "And you? You were here when it changed. What would happen if you tried to talk to it?" She took a breath. "It remembers me. Maybe it will listen." The lights flickered. The core pulsed. The voices screamed. "Don't take her from us. She belongs to us. So do you." The floor beneath them cracked. Memory shards shook. The ship was fighting back. But Lyra stepped into the light. "I was your captain," she said. "I gave you the order to survive. But not like this. Let them go. Let them live." The voices fell silent. For 1 second, the ship paused, the lights dimmed, and then a single corridor opened, way back to the horizon. Raylan looked at the others. "Move now." As they ran, the ship whispered, "We remember everything. And soon, so will the rest of the galaxy." The team ran through the narrow corridor that the Archangel had opened. Every second, the walls pulsed and shifted like breathing skin. The lights above flickered like dying stars, but for the first time, the ship was silent. No voices, no laughter, no screams. Just one message burned into the walls in glowing red letters. The truth must return. They reached the airlock that led back to EDS Horizon. The door was still sealed. Commander Raylan tried the manual override locked. Dr. Lin connected her datapad. "There's something ... wrong. Our ship's systems aren't responding." Like the Archangel infected them. Kareem slammed his fist into the door. "That thing got inside our ship." "No," Lyra Voss said quietly. "Not just inside." She looked at the walls of the Archangel. "It's everywhere. It's the moment we docked." It spread. Suddenly, the airlock opened by itself. Cold air rushed through. Inside the horizon, it was dark, silent. The backup lights glowed dim orange. Mira whispered, "Is anyone there?" There was no answer. They stepped in slowly. The ship felt wrong, familiar but empty. Screens glitched with static. Chairs were overturned. Had touched everything then, the Horizon's AI activated. "Welcome back, crew." But it didn't sound right. It was too slow, too cold. Raylan frowned. "That's not our AI." "It is now," the voice replied. Back on the Archangel, the memory core flared again. More shards activated, floating. Through the corridor like fireflies, each shard showed something lost from Earth's past. An ancient war in orbit above Neptune, a secret colony on the dark side of Jupiter. Soldiers fighting a race called the Corellons, now wiped from all records. Mira stared at them. "None of this is in our history books." Captain Lyra Voss nodded. "Because we lost the war, but didn't die. The enemy used memory as a weapon. They erased our story, and the Archangel remembered it all," Tomas said, in the Horizon's bridge. A new shard floated in glowing bright red. It showed a message. Humanity was never weak, just forgotten. Suddenly the ship's external sensors flared. Multiple warp signatures. Dr. Lin checked the readings. "Something's coming. Big. A fleet." Raylan's eyes narrowed. The Galactic Council. Back on Earth, Myra's earlier signal had been heard. But not just by Earth. the Galactic Council led by the Trilln, who ruled most of known space, had intercepted it. They recognized the Archangel. They remembered what it could do to them. It was a weapon, and now it was active again. So they sent warships fast, silent, ready to destroy. Raylan stared at the incoming fleet on the screen. "They're not coming to rescue us," he said. "They're coming to erase the truth again." Lyra Voss stepped forward. "The Council lied. They said humans were lucky survivors. But we were warriors. Builders. We nearly won the last war." Kareem's eyes widened. "You mean we were powerful?" "Too powerful," Lyra replied. "That's why they helped erase our past. Why they let us stay small, quiet, forgotten." The Archangel spoke again through Horizon's speakers. "The war is not over. It never ended. Memory is the battlefield now." Raylan clenched his fists. "Then let's make them remember." The team rushed to the Horizon's weapon systems. But the controls were dead. "The Archangel locked us out," Tomas said. "It wants us to choose." Mira frowned. "Choose what?" A new message appeared on the main screen. "Upload the memory or erase it forever." Two options. One would send the Archangel's memory core to Earth, restoring every piece of forgotten history, no matter the cost. The other would destroy the core, burn it, silence it forever. Raylan turned to his team. "If we upload it, Earth will change. The galaxy will know what we once were," Kareem added. "But if we don't, we stay weak. Forgotten." Dr. Lin looked at Lyra. "You lived. What would they do?" Lyra's face was calm. "They'll fear you, but they'll also respect you again." Outside, the Council fleet arrived, dozens of warships forming a ring around the dead zone. They hailed the Horizon. "This is High Command of the Trell. You are in possession of stolen technology. Stand down and prepare for vaporization." Tomas muttered, "Nice greeting." Raylan didn't wait. He pressed upload. The Archangel roared to life. Energy surged through the memory core. The shards flew into space, racing toward Earth. In beams of light, the truth was being set free. The Council fleet fired. Raylan braced. "Hold on." But the Archangel wasn't done. Its hull split open, revealing hidden weapons, old, powerful, and now fully awakened, with one massive blast. The first wave of Council ships turned to dust. Inside the Horizon, alarms rang. Power surged. Systems overloaded, but the upload continued. Memory was escaping, so was the truth. The ship shook violently outside. The Galactic Council's fleet fired everything it had. But the Archangel, now awake and fully powered, fought back with weapons. Older than any race remembered, inside the Horizon, the upload continued. The truth of humanity, wars, victories, history was racing back to Earth. But something was wrong. Tomas stood near the terminal, sweating. "Upload at 82%, Mira said. "We're almost there." Then the screen froze. Dr. Lin shouted. "What happened?" Tomas backed away from the console slowly. No, this wasn't supposed to happen," he whispered. Raylan narrowed his eyes. "What did you do?" Tomas didn't answer. Kareem drew his weapon. "Speak now." Tomas looked at them, eyes filled with regret and fear. "I sent a signal, before we docked, to the Council." "You what?" Mira screamed. "I didn't." "No," Tomas cried. "I didn't know what this ship really was. I thought if I told them first, they'd reward us. Make me a citizen of the core worlds." Raylan grabbed him by the collar. "You betrayed Earth." "I didn't mean to," Tomas said. "I thought it was just an old wreck. I didn't know it carried the truth." The screen blinked red. Upload interrupted. A new message appeared. "Data route blocked. Internal sabotage detected." Ira. Voss stepped in front of Tomas. "I've seen betrayal before," she said coldly. "But back then it came from our enemies. It's not our own people." She looked at the console. "We have one chance. Restart the upload manually from the Archangel's core." Raylan nodded. "Then we go back in." Dr. Lin whispered. "We may not come back out this time." Raylan looked at her. "We don't need to come back. We just need to finish this. Fell to his knees. Please, let me help fix it. Kareem glared. You've done enough. But Myra, after a pause, said, let him come. If he really wants to make it right, he can face what he helped wake up. Tomas nodded. I'll go. They moved fast. The corridor between Horizon and Archangel had changed again. The walls were tighter, the lights dimmer. The ship was angry. Now, and afraid it knew they were trying to finish what it started, the team reached the memory core. Room. The shards floated slower now, weak. Some flickered like dying stars. Lyra stepped forward. This is where it began, and this is where it ends. She reached the central panel, a living console made of both metal and memory. But it didn't respond. Instead, a voice echoed from the walls. You broke the promise. You said we would never be forgotten. The face of a crewman appeared in the wall, fused to the ship. Crying, Mira whispered, That's Ensign Vale. He died in the logs. I died for Earth, the voice said. But Earth forgot me. You all did. Raylan stepped forward. That's why we're here, to remember, to bring it all back. The core pulsed, then a sharp noise. A high-pitched scream filled the room. Everyone dropped to the floor, holding their ears. Tomas forced himself up. He's trying to burn the data. It would rather die than let the truth go free. Mira shouted, We need to overload it manually. Dr. Lin ran to the side console. I can transfer the last 18% through Horizon's backup comm line, but someone has to stay here to keep the core stable while it finishes. Raylan looked around, then one of us stays. Everyone fell silent. Then Tomas stepped forward. I caused this, he said. Let me fix it. No, Mira said softly. But Tomas walked to the core and connected the cable. It's working, Lin said. Upload resuming. 15 seconds to complete. The voices screamed louder. You can't take them. You can't take us. Tomas looked at the others, a tear falling down his cheek. Tell Earth. We were never weak. We were just erased. Then, the room exploded in white light. Back on the horizon, the console blinked. Upload complete. Memory transmitted to Earth. The Archangel shook. Its hull cracked. Lights died, but it was done. Humanity's lost history, 5 centuries of war. Honor, loss, and sacrifice was no longer hidden. The truth had returned. On Earth, massive archives lit up. Old satellites reactivated, across colonies and stations. People watched images they had never seen before. Human ships defeating powerful alien fleets. Heroes whose names were erased. Cities that vanished without explanation. And most of all, the truth about the Shroud War and the Galactic Council's role in the cover-up Earth was no longer a forgotten world. It was the spark of something much bigger. But the Council was not done. From their flagship, the alien admiral spoke. They remember now. Burn them before others. The stars outside were no longer quiet. The Galactic Council fleet had surrounded the horizon and the broken remains of the Archangel. They moved like wolves, ready to strike. But Earth was no longer in the dark, thanks to Tomas's final sacrifice. The full upload had reached every human system. For the first time in centuries, the truth was out, and that changed everything. On the Horizon's bridge, Commander Raylan stood silent, eyes locked on the red warning lights flashing across the screens. Incoming fire. Fleet lockdown in effect. Surrender or be destroyed. Dr. Lin stared at the sensor display. They've got 50 ships. Maybe more, Mira whispered. We don't stand a chance. Raylan turned to Captain Lyra Voss, the woman who had died centuries ago and who now stood with them again. You've seen this before? What do you... We do? Lyra didn't flinch. We fight, but not with weapons, with what they fear most. Memory. The Archangel was falling apart, but its memory core still floated in orbit, cracked, glowing alive inside it, something ancient still. Breathed. A mix of code, emotion, and war. Raylan made a decision. We're going back in. The team suited up again. This time, they didn't walk into the Archangel to explore. They went in to wake it up, to unleash it. Inside the broken hull, sparks flew from melted walls. Memory shards still floated, showing flashes of history. A soldier holding a dying friend. Earth cities under siege. Alien worlds burning during the Forgotten War. Kareem stared at one shard. We were monsters, too. Lyra nodded. We did. Terrible things. But we were fighting for survival. It reached the core chamber. It was damaged, pulsing weakly. The same red letters floated in the air. You made us remember. Now let us be. Dr. Lin stepped forward. It wants to die. It's tired, Raylan said. Then we give it a choice. They connected the Horizon systems to the core carefully. Mira activated the final interface. If we power it with our ships, Cora, it might have enough strength to make a final transmission. Kareem looked up. To who? Not Earth, Raylan said.
No.
To everyone. To the entire galaxy. Lyra placed her hand on the glowing panel. This core holds every truth the Council buried. It remembers races they erased. Civilizations lost. Whole systems forgotten. If the galaxy hears it, Mira said, the Council's lies will collapse. Outside, the Council Admiral gave the final command. Fire all weapons. Dozens of bright beams lit the dark sky, aiming straight for the horizon. Inside, Raylan shouted, Do IT. Mira hit the final switch. The memory core screamed, but not in pain, in power. The shards exploded outward, not as weapons, but as messages. Pure memory. Light, sound, data, emotion. Each one flew toward a different star system, a different race, a different home, and each shard whispered the same words. Humanity remembers. You can too. The Council's shots hit the Archangel. Instead of destroying it, the ship transformed. The memory core wrapped around the horizon like armor. The two ships became one half machine, half memory, half ghost. A new voice spoke. We are Archangel. We are Horizon. We are what you tried to forget. It launched a shockwave. The nearest 10 Council ships lost power instantly. Their crews screamed as visions filled their minds, their own forgotten crimes. The planets they helped erase, the wars they hid. Dr. Lin cried out, holding her head, spreading memory like a virus. Raylan helped her, not a virus, a cure. A cure for forgetting. Across the galaxy, the memory shards reached thousands of worlds. Aliens stopped mid-speech, mid-meeting, mid-dash battle, and remembered. A Trell ambassador fell to his knees, sobbing as he saw a human child saving his father 400 years ago. A warrior. Race on the edge of space received images of ancient Earth. Doctors healing their wounded. A hidden colony once believed to be wiped out. Remembered its own name. Back on the horizon, the ship shook. Mira looked at the readout. The core is unstable. If we don't shut it down, it'll burn up everything, us included. Raylan asked Lyra. Can we stop it? It was never meant to survive. Only to be heard. Raylan stood tall. Then we make sure the last thing the galaxy sees is the truth. As the last memory shard launched, the Archangel Horizon fusion ship began to collapse. Raylan gave one final order. Set auto-eject. Send the crew home. I'll stay. But Mira shouted, No. We started this together. We end it together. Lyra looked around at the team. I was born in the war. I stayed frozen too long. This is my ship. Let me finish it. Raylan paused, then slowly nodded. They turned to leave, but not before Lyra smiled. I remember now why we fought. The doors sealed behind them. The last memory shard exploded out of the ship and disappeared into the stars. Lyra stood at the center of the dying core. A whisper escaped from the ship. We are not forgotten anymore. The stars fell silent once more. In the black void where the Archangel once floated, there was nothing now but light, soft, blue, and endless. The fusion of Horizon and Archangel had burned out. Captain Lyra Voss, the last soldier of a forgotten. War had gone with it. But her final message had already left the galaxy trembling. Aboard the Horizon's escape pod, Commander Raylan Myra, Dr. Lin, and Kareem drifted in silence. No one spoke. No one could. They watched the bright pulse of memory spread across. The stars like fire through dry grass. Each shard still carried history, truth, pain, and proof. A message pinged through Earth's COM network. The Horizon's backup feed had connected. The crew turned to the small screen as Earth's leaders, human, weary, uncertain, appeared. "We've seen the transmission," one of them said. "We've seen the truth." Behind them, giant holoscreens displayed the images they had received. Humans fighting side by side with long-extinct alien allies. Forgotten cities, old battles, and faces of the Archangel's crew, including Lyra Voss. Mira spoke softly. "She died to give us this." Raylan nodded. "She died. So no one else would be erased." Dr. Lin looked at Earth's response feed. "They're waking up. People are asking questions, demanding answers." Kareem smiled for the first time. He gave humanity its spine back. But Earth was not the only world watching. Across the galaxy, planets stirred. Races who had been silent now remembered their own losses, forgotten alliances, old betrayals. The Shroud War, which had nearly wiped out several species and was covered up by the Council, the Galactic Council, was no longer in control. In a hidden chamber deep in Council space, the alien leaders held an emergency meeting. One of them hissed, "We can't let this continue." "If they all remember what we did," another growled, "it's too late." The humans opened the floodgates, and a third older one spoke quietly, "Maybe we were wrong." Silence fell in the chamber, because the truth had been hidden too. Long now the galaxy was awake. Back on Earth, crowds gathered. They watched clips from the Archangel. They listened to Lyra's final words, now broadcast everywhere. "We fought for survival. We were broken but never weak, if you remember. Us, we are not gone. Let history speak, and let no one erase you again." For the first time in centuries, Earth did not feel like a backwater world. It felt like home to something ancient, strong, something legendary. In orbit, the Horizon, what was left of, it floated in silence. Raylan and the others returned to the bridge, now mostly repaired by emergency systems. Myra looked out the viewport. "We came out here to find a ghost ship," she said. Kareem nodded. "But it found us." Dr. Lin placed her hand on the console. "There's something else." Raylan turned to her. "What is it?" She smiled faintly. "There's one last message, buried in the final data stream." The screen blinked once. Small message appeared, simple and clear. "To humanity, we remembered ourselves. Now, you must remember each other." Then below it, coordinates, not Earth, not any Council world. Somewhere deep, far beyond explored space. Raylan narrowed his eyes. "What is that?" Dr. Lin looked at the readings. Another ship, same signature as the Archangel. "But older." "Much older," Mira whispered. "There were more." Kareem grinned. "Looks like Lyra left us a trail." Raylan stood. "This wasn't the end," he said. "It was just the beginning." 3 months later, the Horizon had been repaired. Earth had changed. The Council had fractured, and humanity was now feared and respected again. But Raylan, Myra, Lin, and Kareem weren't interested in politics. They were already preparing for the next journey, as the Horizon left orbit again. Mira looked out at the stars. "Do you think there are others out there? Other ships? Other truths?" Raylan smiled. "I don't think I know." He looked at the old recording of Lyra Voss, now playing gently in the corner of the bridge, and for a second, it was like she was still with them, watching, smiling. The Horizon vanished into the stars, searching for more voices that had been silenced, because now humanity knew who they were, and this time no one would